There were nights I fell asleep with my laptop still open beside me. Unfinished assignment, laundry waiting, children waiting to be fed, placement notes scattered across the table, university needed me, work needed me, and somewhere in the middle of trying to hold everything together, I was disappearing. If you are currently studying social work while juggling work, parenting, relationships, or simply trying to survive yourself, I need you to know that you are not weak for finding this hard. This journey can stretch you in ways nobody warned you about. Today, I want to share how I navigated university, placement, motherhood, work responsibilities, emotional exhaustion, and the things that genuinely helped me to stay sane and not run out. Hi, I'm Ebi Adetoye. Before qualifying, I completed my social work degree while raising two children, managing responsibilities at home, attending placements, writing assignments, and working shifts as a domiciliary carer alongside studying. As a domiciliary carer, I wasn't just a passenger, I was the one who would drive my fellow carers to the client's house. I want you to understand the context clearly. So, some seasons felt impossible, but looking back now, there are things I wish I understood clearer that could have protected my mental health and emotional well being. First was for me to stop thinking I'm busy all the time or to stop glamorizing the word being busy. One of the first mistakes I made was believing that being tired meant I was succeeding. I thought feeling constantly exhausted meant I was working hard enough or doing something right. So I kept pushing and pushing myself. I skipped breaks. I studied late into the night. I ran on caffeine and anxiety until eventually my body forced me to slow down. There was one time I was sitting in front of my laptop. I think I was doing an assignment after putting my kids to bed early at 7 p.m. I can't really quite remember, but suddenly I realized that I couldn't concentrate on anything. I think maybe it was placement document or so. But I couldn't concentrate. My vision was blurred. My mind was exhausted. That moment taught me that being constantly drained is not an achievement. It's a sign of your body telling you to take a break and to rest. There was also another incident when I was preparing for my final placement report. I was trying to put a portfolio together, and my youngest daughter at the time, she was about 2 years old, was sick. It was late in the night. I thought we could just manage it. I gave her paracetamol. Then she fell asleep, so I thought I could just watch her through the night. And I took her to bed and I went back to studies till about 11, nearly 12. I went into the bedroom to check on her and she was burning hot. I had to take her to A&E that night. By the time we came back, it was already 2 a.m. and my eldest at that time couldn't go into school because she obviously didn't have a good night's sleep. I had to call school to let her be absent. That incident forced me to take a break, to not neglect any one of my kids because I'm trying to do it all. I sat in the bathroom that morning when I got back, quietly crying because I genuinely didn't know how I was going to manage another day if anything had happened to my daughter because I was trying to juggle everything together. What helped me eventually was admitting that I needed support. Instead of pretending I was coping, I wasn't coping, I was drowning. Number two, you need structure or everything blurs together. When life becomes demanding, structure becomes a survival. I had to become intentional about my time. Not perfect, intentional. I started planning realistically instead of creating impossible schedules. I learned when my brain worked best. I learned when I needed rest and when to stop forcing productivity. One thing that changed everything for me was creating boundaries between study time and family time. As soon as I see any sign that my daughters are coming down with anything, I say goodbye to studies or work. And even if it wasn't always balanced perfectly, I didn't care. Here are a few things that genuinely helped me. One, I stopped comparing myself to other students. Two, I prepared meals ahead during busy placement weeks. I started prepping meals for a month ahead. Three, I use travel time for reading or listening to recorded lectures. Four, I learned to prioritize important tasks instead of trying to complete everything at once. If I accepted that some days would simply not go to plan, that's okay. Honestly, that acceptance gave me peace. The next one I want to talk about is motherhood and guilt, which I felt a lot of times, but I just couldn't help it. Being an international student, I had my husband supporting me at the time, but it felt overwhelming sometimes. Trying to study while raising children can create enormous guilt. When I studied, I sometimes felt guilty for not giving enough time to my children. But when I focused on family, I worried about falling behind academically. It felt like constantly being emotionally divided. I remember one evening, my oldest child said, "Mommy, are you always going to be busy with school or work?" That question I can never forget. How can a 5-year-old come up with that sort of question? It reminded me how important presence is. Not just being with your child, but being emotionally, physically present. I couldn't give my all at the time, but the few times I had to give, I was buried in front of my laptop trying to do work. I know this might sound controversial, but protecting your well being matters more than achieving perfect grades. If you collapse emotionally, nothing else functions properly. I had to learn how to pause, how to rest without guilt, how to recognize when my anxiety was becoming unhealthy. And that self awareness saved me a whole lot. One of my colleagues said something powerful during placement. She said, "I'm learning to survive this degree without losing myself." I can't quite remember what we were doing, but the sentence stayed with me longer because I was losing myself. I couldn't even recognize myself in the mirror only because I was trying to get good grades. It's possible to complete professional training while still protecting your humanity, but I didn't know how to do it at the time without being intentional. So I had to ask for help. With strength in admitting when you are struggling. Please do not isolate yourself. Yes. Talk to tutors, talk to trusted friends, your placement, your classmates, or supportive family members. Sometimes just being heard can reduce emotional pressure. Despite how difficult this season was, it shaped me profoundly. It taught me resilience, discipline, empathy, and compassion for struggling parents. Truthfully, it made me a more understanding practitioner because I understood pressure personally and up close. If you're currently trying to survive a social work degree while balancing real life responsibilities, please always remember that you do not need to carry everything perfectly. You are allowed to rest, you're allowed to struggle, you're allowed to ask for help, and you are allowed to grow slowly. This journey is extremely demanding, but it can also build strength you need and strength you never realized you had. I would genuinely love to hear from you. It's been the hardest part of balancing studies, work, parenting, or placement for you. If Let's support each other in the comment section. You enjoy honest conversations about social work, emotional well-being, motherhood, and personal growth. Please do not forget to subscribe. Till I see you again next time, have a good day. Bye.